Today, we're going to have a conversation with Jinica, and it's going to be about children's book, her contribution to Haiti, and the fun of life. So welcome to Candid Creoles.
Wow.
Welcome, Jinica. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Welcome to Candid Creoles, where we celebrate and elevate Haitian excellence and friends. And today we have the pleasure to speak with Jinica Dauphin. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got distracted for a few seconds. Jinica Dauphin. Jinica is a Haitian American elementary school teacher turned author of many books, I must add, who resides in Central Florida. Oh, you're not too far from me.
Oh.
Yeah. Jinica is the author of Haitian Flag Day Florina's Way and is currently working on some new titles as well. As a young child, she loved reading and from time to time would write her own fun little stories. And throughout her life, Jinica always enjoyed working in education. As a mother, she wanted to make sure that her children learn about the cultures from all around the world, including their Haitian heritage. And Jinica found it difficult. Jinica found it difficult to find books about Haitian culture for young children, so she decided she would create her own. What a fantastic solution. You can't find what you're looking for, so I'm going to create it. That's amazing. That's awesome. Awesome. Well, we're going to talk all about it, but first, I would like to know, what is your connection with Haiti? Were you born in Haiti or were you born in the US?
I was actually born in Miami, Florida. My dad's side is from Latibonite and Port-au-Prince, and my mom's side is from Semac. So I've actually been to Haiti about 3 times, and just growing up, we were just immersed in the culture. So even though I grew up here, I grew up Haitian. So
yeah, because your family is very well
yes,
into the culture. And in Miami also, we have so many Haitians in Miami. Yeah. But now you moved to Central Florida now.
Yes, we actually moved to Orlando when I was around 3 years old. But Miami and Orlando, it's like it's
lots
a quick
of Haitian
drive.
in Orlando too.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, because being in South Florida myself, in Palm Beach County, and when my children were younger, we used to go to Disney a lot. And we would meet so many Haitian who work at Disney. So they
probably met my parents there.
Oh, your parents work there?
Yeah, they used to work there.
Possibly. I just didn't know back then. That's great. So, do you like Central Florida better than Miami? Have you come to Miami often since you moved?
I come to Miami often to visit. I like because we live where we live in Orlando, it's kind of quiet. So I prefer the quiet a little bit more, especially for raising a family and all of that. So I love going to Miami, but I'm like, I don't think I could live here.
I totally get that. I used to live in New York. When I left Haiti, I moved to New York. So I love New York, but it's too busy for me. So I prefer, especially raising kids, like you just said, I prefer the fact that I was living here when I gave birth to my first son. Yeah, it's a different lifestyle. It's a different.
And I'm pretty sure the weather is more favorable here than
that too. I did not being an island girl, I did not like the winter. I could go on vacation now, but I wouldn't want to deal with that. Although I had some fun in the snow, I must add, but yeah, I prefer the warmer climate. That's for sure. That's for sure. So you said you started to write at such a young age. So what influenced you to write? Was it just like something you just did, or it was that somebody's influence?
It was more so I just liked being in any, I noticed with me, I like being in any capacity where I'm able to be creative. I love creating stories. I love working with my hands, being artistic. So it was just like an outlet for me. Like, and it was just nice to be able to just make up something. So it kind of just stuck with me throughout the years. And it's not until I became a mom, and then besides like going on Amazon, it's hard to really find a lot of things. You have to really look for it. So I was just happy to be able to be one of the few authors that are trying to bring the Haitian culture to our children. Because my biggest fear is that as each generation grows up, we lose a little bit of the culture. And that's like my biggest fear. I don't want my child to grow up and she knows that she's Haitian, but she knows nothing about it. So that's what made me, like, once I became a mom, I noticed I became a little bit fearful of that. So it kind of sparked that in me again to start writing.
Yeah, I think that's a fear probably every person who is an immigrant here has, and definitely us Haitian, for sure, because I know I do. My kids, and I've made some mistakes. My kids don't even speak Creole. Totally my fault. And yeah, but it is what it is. And now my son says he's going to take Creole in college. I found out that they give college classes in Creole.
Great.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Yeah, some colleges are starting to do that. Mm-hmm. So when he goes to college, they're doing that, which is excellent. And he said, "Mommy, I'm going to learn Creole," because I had purchased a tape for him to learn the language, to learn Creole. And I said, "If you have me here, I can speak with you, although my Creole will probably be mixed with some English because I don't speak it every day." Yes, I don't speak it every day, but I do have the foundation, so I can help as well. So you mentioned you're a mother. How many children that you have?
Well, I have one daughter. She's about to be 2 next week. And then I have one in the oven, which is due next month. So
you look great. So wow. You. So do you know what it's going to be?
Another girl. So it's going to be 2 girls, which is perfect because my sister has the 2 boys.
So that's perfect. That's perfect. I have 3 boys myself. So yeah. But my sister got 1 boy and 1 girl.
Oh,
yeah, yes, and I have 2 other sisters as well. Everybody has girls except for me.
Oh,
yeah. So what's the name of your first daughter?
Araya.
Araya, that's beautiful. Yeah. And do you have a name already?
Yes, Ariana for the second girl.
Ah, that's beautiful. Is it purposely that you're building the A team?
Well, it's actually the way that I spell it is ERI is the start of each name because my husband's name is Eric. So
okay. Yeah, so. Okay. Thank you for the clarification because I thought it was A.
No, a lot of
building the E team.
The A. Yeah.
That's nice. That's really nice. So you also so I was trying to, I'm just collecting my thoughts here. When you were talking, like you said, you work with children, you're a teacher.
Yes.
Okay. And it's in your classroom, is it a mixture of different culture? Do you have a lot of Haitians?
Well, I'm not teaching anymore. Like literally, I had my daughter right before COVID, and then all the stuff was happening with teaching and all that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break from teaching and use this time to follow my passion. So my passion is to be a children's book author. So that's what I've been working on. And now that I have another baby on the way, taking some time to be a stay-at-home mom, raising my children or whatever. So that's what my focus has been on these past couple of years. And it's been really nice. I've been really enjoying it. It's a lot of work that people don't really realize. It's the easy part's writing the book. It's all the background stuff to get it published. and get it
Yes.
ready for people to buy. That's the real work. So
Yes.
but when I did teach, I taught at different schools. So I taught at predominantly, white Caucasian schools. I would sub, I subbed all throughout Orlando. And then I loved just seeing different cultures. And when I did teach, I had my last class, my last group of students was predominantly Hispanic, but even though it was predominantly Hispanic, there was at least 6 different countries represented in that classroom. So it was just interesting to see how, sometimes you look at someone and you're just like, oh, they're Hispanic or they're Asian or they're Black. And you just assume oh, this is how they are. This is how they are. This is how they are. And by really getting to know people in different cultures, you realize someone in Honduras does something different than someone in Puerto Rico. Someone who's from Vietnam does things that are different than people in China. So it was just one of those things where my last year of teaching just taught me the importance of culture and keeping that culture, no matter where you're from.
So you've been influenced by your students.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. And it is so true that our assumption, sometimes we put that on people and we could be completely incorrect.
Yes.
And it is only in staying in curiosity and getting to know those students, getting to know those people that are from a different background, that we realize, oh, okay, they do think differently than I thought. Right? Yeah. You also mentioned that you're very creative, and you say you like to do things with your hands. What do you mean? Is that painting yours?
Oh, no, it's funny. This painting isn't mine, but there is one in my living room where it's literally basically this. I love celebrating my Haitian culture in any way that I can. And I made a stencil of this, and it was.
Can you get closer so we can see it? I can see it. I want to make sure. That's the island.
Yeah, that's
so you
the island of Haiti. Yeah.
Yes, that's the island. So you have that painting of the island.
Yes, it's in my living room. So
we would have loved to see it.
Oh,
that's
if
okay.
I go out there, the 2-year-old is waiting for me outside the door, and it will be.
I know. We don't want you to leave the room. We don't want you to leave the room. But another time.
No, yeah, definitely.
So you paint as well.
Yes, but I do it more so for a hobby, because I know a lot of people, they're just like, if you're good at something, you should, sell it, make it a business and all that stuff. And I'm very big on certain times, we're so focused on the business of stuff that we sometimes lose the passion for it. So for me, it was when it comes up to when I do a painting, or if I do a little arts and crafts project or whatever I do, normally it's for decoration in my house because I don't want to pay for it at the store, or I can't find it at the store.
So you make your own.
Yeah. So I'm one of those people. It's I know what I want and I'll look for it. If it fits my price, fits my budget, and it's what I'm looking for, great. If it's not, I'm going to find a way to make it myself because I want it. So that's how the painting came about. But I've always, ever since I was a child, I just love making stuff, just love being creative. So that's just always been a passion. And I just, even to this day, even if I'm not in a certain, for example, I love watching baking shows because I love seeing people make beautiful cakes and stuff. I cannot bake. I don't bake, but I just love watching people be creative in their element. And I love being able to encourage people to express their creativity.
That's nice. It's good. What you love is your passion is what you focus on, and then you also love to encourage others. I want to make sure what you say is so beautiful. You love to encourage others as well, which is really nice, because we all here in service of each other. That's how I see it.
We do.
It's nice. And you said you love watching baking shows, but you don't know how to bake. I don't know how to bake either. I don't even like to cook.
I am right there with you. I can cook, And certain things I will cook. Like cooking is, my husband loves to cook. Like he can cook all day. And I'm like, I'll clean the kitchen. Do whatever you want. Cook whatever you want. But certain things I cook for practice, because if I don't practice it, I'm gonna lose it. Especially those Haitian recipes. Like I'm like on the phone with my aunt, on the phone with my sister, on the phone with whoever I need to get the recipes from, because that's something that I want to pass down to my daughters so that the way they can cook for themselves. And there's something about cooking or just doing anything that's connected to your culture. It just makes you feel proud in what you're making. Yes, you love making a chicken Alfredo or whatever, from another culture. You love it. It's good. It's delicious. But when a Haitian meal, and this came from your ancestors, your family, like this is a family recipe. When you make it and it comes out good, there's like a pride that you feel that can't be explained. So when it comes up to my Haitian recipes, I'm very like, I'm very meticulous because, we don't measure anything. So I'm like, okay.
Yes, we don't measure anything.
Yeah.
When I tell that to people, they said, how can you cook without measuring? I say, well, the person who taught me how to cook never taught me how to measure.
Yeah, it was just like, watch.
Anyone measure. Yes.
Yeah.
But our food tastes good. Yeah. So it's my son. I have one of my son loves to cook. He actually, he said he loves to bake, but he cooks as well. So I would be watching baking shows with him. And actually, I don't like to cook, but I can cook. And yeah, same as you said. I'm hearing you and I'm saying, this sounds like me. I don't like to, but I can cook. So, but sometimes when I don't feel like cooking, all I have to do is watch a cooking show and I feel like cooking.
Yeah.
Because it's
like
encouraging.
You get inspired.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks fun, but cooking is not my thing. I totally agree with you. Cooking is not my thing. But and as you speak about, we're talking about cooking, we're talking about baking. We have two people in our group, in our family. I like to call us a family, our compatriots or family members. And we have Nadia, who is a baker. I don't know if you've seen her on the page. Nadia.
Yeah, I think I've seen her name show up.
Yes. She does fantastic baking, and she is self-taught, which is amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's a lot of patience.
What did you say?
That's a lot of patience.
Yes, a lot of patience. You have to love it. That's her passion.
Yes, because if I could follow a recipe and I still will mess up somewhere in baking. Like when it comes up to like cooking something on the stove, like a savory meal, fine. But like baking a cake, something always just doesn't go right.
I'm trying to remember if I ever bake a cake. I want to say maybe, but it will have to be the Pillsbury cake probably. It's already prepared
it's
for
like
you.
The box cakes.
The boxing thing. I am thinking that's probably the most I've done. But my son can bake a cake from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't get that from me. I can tell you that. He didn't get that from me. So definitely not. I'm not going to claim that one. I'll claim other things. I didn't get that from me. But he really likes, like when it's a birthday, one of his brother's birthday, he bakes a cake for his brothers.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I love that. Yeah, so it's really nice. It's really nice. So yeah, he loves that. But you have to love it. And we also have a chef in our group as well. And we actually had a candid conversation with our chef. Her name is Woodlyn. It was at the beginning when we first started, because this started in March. And no, actually the last week of February, because February is our anniversary for the group. And yes, and I wanted to start Candid Creole in the anniversary month of the group. So I know the first conversation was in February, and then after that, the next one was in March. So I'm not sure which month I spoke with her, but she is a fantastic chef, and she's a vegan chef, and she's Haitian.
Wow, that is cool.
That is
I love vegan food. I'm not a vegan, but I just love food. So I'm like, as long as it tastes good, I'm not.
You go for it, right? Yeah. I used to be a vegan. I used to be a vegan and I miss it. I had to go back to eating meat slowly. But I want to go back vegan because it was, you feel light when because I've been both ways.
Yeah.
First, I was a vegetarian. Well, I was a meat eater in Haiti, eating everything.
Yeah.
And then I became a vegetarian, which is still eating dairy product. And then I became a strict vegan. And I can tell you the difference in how I felt was being vegan was the most beautiful feeling that I've ever had as far as how my
I hear felt. That. I hear like you just feel clean. You feel light. That makes sense. What? Yeah, like it's like you just feel clean from the inside out. Like it's just like everything that everything that you're putting in your body is like for nutrients. Now, because of like how society is now, I've heard some vegans complaining because it's like now they're starting to make processed foods and those processed foods make you feel bad like the other foods do. But like when you're cooking your own like meals with fresh ingredients, I just hear that you just feel so much better.
Yeah, you do. You do. What I would love to do that I don't think I will probably not do in this lifetime is if I could grow my own stuff.
You should. Like my husband has been.
Not where I live, girl. I can't.
Oh, okay. Like my husband started a garden in the backyard, and it's just been so nice because like to just like go out there and be able to pick stuff and just seeing the growth of certain trees that he's planted. It's really rewarding. So
it is. Not only that I can't, and I also do not have a green thumb. Like I love flowers.
Me neither.
I love plants. I love flowers, but I used to have plants all over my house, and then I killed them all. So I don't know what's going on. It's either I put too much water or I don't put them in the sun enough. And I said, okay, I'm not buying a natural plant anymore. So I end up going artificial, as you can see.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm like, I like greenery. Here it is on a
Here
thing.
It is, right? Yeah, but it's beautiful. I love natural plants. It's beautiful. So for that reason, I know it will take so much patience because this is not my passion to be able to grow. Perhaps when I retire, who knows? To grow my own
different
things.
Stages of life.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I know you published the first book, right? And you told me the process was a little bit challenging, specifically not writing the book, but to publish it, to get it out there in the people's hand. So tell me more about that.
So the process is, the first things first, like you write your book, right? So you love it, you write it. And then one thing I think that is very important is to let other people read it, because sometimes you come up with something, you're like, oh my gosh, this is my baby. This is my passion. She's perfect. It's perfect. I love it. And then when you send it to someone like a friend or anybody who you know is going to be honest with you, they give you like a true, honest opinion about it. So like, and that's so important. And it's so important to have people in your circle who aren't, trying to like break you down, but they're like, hey, you might want to think about this. You might want to think about that. You might want to make some changes here. And I had to take all that into consideration. And then I was like, you know what? Okay, regroup. And then, make the necessary changes. And then after that, it's all about sending it to an editor. So you have to find an editor that you're comfortable with too, because, anybody can say like, yeah, I fixed your book or whatever, but the last thing you want is to put out a book and it has typos everywhere. So so I said,
and they do. I used to work for a publishing company when I lived in New York, and very often, and I worked for the school division, and very often we receive letters from children.
Yes.
Telling us, you have a mistake here. You have a mistake here. And do you know how many editors review those books before they get published? And they still publish with mistakes.
Literally, Like even it's just crazy the stuff that kids notice. Like the smallest thing that no one else saw, it went over everyone's head, a child will notice. So especially knowing my target audience, I'm like, a child will not overlook this. So I need to make sure that certain things, I need to make sure that it's perfection when it goes out. Obviously, you know that when you're creating anything, not everyone's going to love it, not everyone's going to like it, but at the same time, you want to make sure it has a certain standard, certain quality, all that stuff. Everyone has opinions, but at the same time, I knew like when it came up to editing, you want to make sure that that part is good. So then after it was edited, you have to get it copywritten, so that way no one steals your work, because like if you don't copyright your stuff, someone can easily just, even if your name is on it,
claim it.
Someone can easily just say, oh yeah, I wrote it. The only way, you know, there's little legal stuff that you can do, like you can prove that, you know how sometimes you're typing stuff on Word and it'll tell you the time that you typed it up. That type of stuff helps you, but legally
it's best to get
submitting it. It's the best way to go. So because no one can argue with you about that.
Absolutely.
But yes.
Absolutely.
So that after you do the copywriting, then especially because I'm a children's book writer, having to find the right illustrator. And people, it was very disheartening sometimes, because at first I was just like, I want all my illustrators to be Haitian. I want everything Haitian, everything Haitian. But then trying to find that at the same time, trying to meet a deadline that you want to, because the book that I wrote, it's about Haitian Flag Day. So for me, it was like, I need this book to be out.
Can you show it to us again? Can you show us the cover and then maybe flip through it? Haitian Flag Day, Florina's Way.
Yeah, so the illustrator that I went with, I needed someone who not only could draw, but understood my vision. So like, we just had a great time working with one another. She communicated well, and she lives all the way in Italy. And it was one of those things where it was nice, because I realized through that process, because at first I was like, no, they have to be Haitian, they have to be Haitian. And my husband was just like, or you could work with someone from somewhere else in the world and you teach them about Haitian culture. And that's what it ended up happening. Like, she didn't know anything about Haiti. And then she was intrigued and all this different stuff. And it was nice to share my culture with someone else and have them put the same amount of energy in something that I was working on. So, after doing the whole illustrator thing, you finally have to have someone format the book for you, put the words and the pictures together, and make sure that it's okay, so that when you try to put it on Amazon or any other publishing site, that they're able to put it together in a nice format so people can get a book. So that's actually a short version of all
the work.
Yeah,
it's never that easy, but you give us the
everything goes perfectly, which most of the time it doesn't. Like, there's always up here, like
there will be challenges, and you also have a lot of revisions as well, back and forth with the illustrator, with the editors as well, right?
Yeah, especially when you're working with people who don't understand like the culture really, or so my books are in English, but I sprinkle in like little words of Creole in there, and they all rhyme. Like that's my style of writing, like the rhyming books. So then it's like you send it to an editor who doesn't really know a lot about Creole, and they're like, oh, you misspelled this word. And it's like, oh, she doesn't know this word isn't Creole. So there's just those little aspects that, you have to work with people on and help them understand. And I notice with every book that I write, I'm noticing how to deal with, different people. And like, when you're communicating what you want and what you expect, you have to front load the information. Mm-hmm.
You're learning from the business relationship that you have with them. And then next time the communication will be better, not just with them, but with somebody else too.
Yes.
Because communication is everything. We do everything in language. For something to happen, it has to be created, and we create in language.
Yes.
So, yeah. And earlier you mentioned also like how it is important for you to make sure that your children have some connection with their culture, the Haitian culture. And that's why you wanted to write books for Haitian children. I also wanted to ask, and that brought to mind Edwidge Dantica. I'm sure you know who she is. And what came to mind though was those her book Click Crack. Are you familiar with Click Crack and the stories?
I've seen it. I haven't read it yet. It's funny because I just got it on Audible, so I can listen to it. It's funny. I'm a writer, but with a toddler and everything, I have to put my AirPods in and I listen to books. That's how I read books now.
I like to say I have a magnificent obsession, and it's reading. Mm-hmm. I read a lot, but because of time, I don't necessarily find time to sit down and read.
Exactly.
So I listen to a lot of audiobooks, whether I'm driving, whether I'm doing dishes, I'm cooking.
Yes, going for a walk.
Background. Yes, because in that way you find a way to there is a way they call that, to double stack the whatever it is you're doing.
Yes, and you're still stimulating your mind.
Habit stack is the name. Yeah.
Yeah. You're still stimulating your mind while trying to get things done, because it's hard to sit down, especially if you're really enjoying a book. You can get lost. And
tell me about that.
Yeah, it's happened to me plenty of times. Like, I'm gonna sit here for 30 minutes and read this book. And the next thing I know, I'm like, well, I can't now I have to go to the next chapter. I have to go to the next chapter. And then next thing you know, you're like, 2 hours went by, and it's great. You read, but then it's like,
but then things didn't get done, right?
Yeah.
I had to learn. This is so true. It's like we have a lot of similarities because we have similar interests. I had to learn to time myself, because I realized if I don't, that's how to trigger my brain to put the book down. Because if I don't do that, then before I know it, I'm on chapter 3, and then things are not being done, or I get distracted. So I said, okay, no, I can read, but I have to learn. And it's so hard to put the book down when you're loving it, you know? Yes. And I don't even read fiction.
Really?
I don't. I love fiction, but I haven't found, except for Anne Rand, who is, I'm probably not pronouncing her name well. I read, she has a fiction book called, the last fiction that I've read is years ago, and that was Atlas Shrugged. It's a classic. And the author was Anne Rand. It's spelled A-Y-N. And
I think we read her books in high school. It's funny that once you said it, I'm like,
yeah,
you know what?
Yeah. She's the pioneer of objectivism. And she's a fascinating woman, because when I read about an author and I like them, I research on them to learn about them too. So I love biographies, I love memoirs, and I love self-development book because I am an entrepreneur. So it's so I'm fascinated by books. And since I was little, when I was little, I used to read multiple books a week. And because in the school, I grew up in Haiti, and at school we had to read. And so you get a book every week, and then you return it to the school, and then you get a new book. But I love to read so much. Me and a few friends who also love to read, we would exchange our books within the week.
Get more books.
So we get to read more than one book in a week. So it was really, it was fun. And I remember I would be reading, it's late, and then it's time for me to go to sleep. And my mom would come down and said, need to turn off the light. And then she would go back to her room, and then I would turn back the light on to read.
Yeah, just one more chapter.
Yeah, but then back then it was, fiction, all fiction.
Yeah.
All fiction. I learned to read nonfiction as when I got older, when I started to be in my business, and then to learn how to cope with, how to you want to learn the models that were established for you. Yeah. Now you are an entrepreneur too. You're a book writer.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Yeah,
So we
so
probably could
even
exchange
it's
books.
funny now that you said that, I'm like thinking like, oh, the past like 3 books I read weren't fiction. Like I love reading fiction, but now I think about it, the past couple of books were not, they were
As a
nonfiction.
writer, it's very important to read fiction because I
Yes,
think fiction triggers your
the
creativity.
imagination part, but I
Yes.
think a lot, it's more so like those not self-help, I guess self-help motivation,
Self-help.
the autobiographies of how like successful people got to where they've gotten to and the stuff that they've dealt with, because I notice like society, you see someone somewhere and you just assume that all the doors just opened, like they just
No.
literally just walked into being a billionaire, walked into being a millionaire. And it's nice to read those books because when you get frustrated about your own struggles in life, you realize, oh, I'm not the only one who struggled. Like these people who are massively successful have had doors shut in their face, and it doesn't make me special that I'm having to go through this because this person went through this. So
It's
yeah,
actually part of the process. In
yes, it
order
makes
for
me
you to find
appreciate
the
it.
right door, you
Yeah,
have to have some shut down on your face so you can keep knocking.
yeah,
So you can keep knocking until you get to the right one. But very often, and it's true, if you don't know better, you're going to say, oh, it's too hard. But everyone who's highly successful has been rejected a lot of time.
yes,
Yes, that's how they got there. They just didn't let that decide the
yes.
next
They just
step.
kept it moving,
They kept
and
moving. They kept
it's
moving.
nice to read stuff about those moments, because especially when you put your all into something, like you really give it your full effort and you don't get the results that you want. I love going back to those moments and thinking about like, well, all these people who are successful, they had these same exact moments. So I the same way they persevered, I can persevere as well.
Yes. And as you're saying that, it's I have a post on my kitchen right for my son to see when he's washing dishes, so he can see it. It's about, because they read my books, and I also, what you read and then you forget, so I put little things around the house for them to remember who they
Yeah.
can be and who they can become. So one thing, I post something in on a cabinet right when he's doing dishes so he can see it, and it's called The Portrait of an Achiever, and it's about Abraham Lincoln and all the failures that he had
Yeah.
before he became president.
Yeah.
And so all those failures were actually leading him toward the presidency.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's like this, and then he kept going, So
It's
fascinating.
I truly believe that you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. Like the successes are those things, the failures make you appreciate your successes more, but the failures really tell you what doesn't work, what you need to work on, what is it gives you so much data. And the successes kind of just tells you, okay, this is what works and we can keep going with that. But I really think it's important to teach kids that it is okay to fail in a healthy manner, because especially growing up in the Haitian households, sometimes, that criticism is so harsh and you feel like you can't fail, like you can't, you let the whole family down. And it's like, there's just certain things that I loved about growing up being Haitian, but there's certain things that, you grow up and you're like, you know what? I want to change that just a little bit.
Just a little.
That pressure it becomes unhealthy. And as an adult, you carry that with you and you think that, oh, I'm just not doing anything. And it's like by reading certain books and hearing people's stories, you're like, oh, I'm just like them. It's just, I just quit and they didn't. So
It's exactly. And I think that's probably a challenge in our culture where we expect something to be done on the first try. You
yes.
know, I remember reading a post somebody did, two posts um, from two Haitian friends on Facebook after Hillary Clinton was not elected president. And
Mm-hmm.
then those two people said the same thing, which is interesting. They said the Obamas must be ashamed now that and regret that they had helped. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, why would they regret that they had helped? They did what
Yeah.
they thought was right. And the result will come whichever way the result come. You don't control the result.
Mm-hmm.
You can only control what you do today. And I was
Exactly.
like, I responded to one of them and I didn't bother after that because I said, this is the problem. This is the problem. If somebody fail, we laugh at them
Exactly.
instead of applauding them for trying.
Exactly. That is something that especially that I noticed with, because I'm 30 years old and growing up, like
And you look like a baby.
thank you. Thank you. So growing up, there's one thing I do want to change about the stigma when it comes up to Haitian culture. Like, we are so critical of one another. Like, literally, everything that you do, someone has a problem with it. And a lot of it is within the Haitian culture, like down to like someone grew up in America their whole lives and they'll speak Creole, right? And then if you hear them speak it in a way that doesn't sound like they just came from Haiti, everyone's like, oh, c'est American, c'est American, and it's just like, oh my goodness, calm down. Someone's been speaking English for 20 plus years. The only people they speak Creole to is maybe their mom, their dad. You know what I'm saying? And but
So
most of
applaud them for making an effort.
exactly, the fact that they
It's
know the
actually amazing because in the
yeah,
culture that American, they go to school, they speak English all day. For them to try to speak it, even if all the mistake, and it's so
exactly.
true. I am a coach, and I had a former coaching client. He was Asian, I didn't even know because he was brought up here, and he was the one telling me that I'm Haitian. I said, but I never hear you speak Creole. And then he said, and because he was brought up here, he didn't have an accent.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I am always uncomfortable speaking Creole because when I do that at home, they laugh at me.
And there's a shame to
and
it.
I am embarrassed. And I'm
to be
saying,
honest,
oh my God. I said, speak Creole to me anytime.
Yes,
Because I said,
like that's
he said,
how
I
we're
want to
gonna
learn.
get it.
Yes.
Practice.
Yeah,
And
you have to practice to get better. If you don't speak it, you will never get better at it.
And what was frustrating to me, especially growing up, most of the people who were, you know, whether it was the older Haitians or people who just, you know, came from Haiti or whatever, who would hear the Creole and it's like, oh, you sound like an American. I've lived here my whole entire life. Yes, I visited Haiti. I talked to family in Haiti, but there's no way I'm going to sound exactly like you guys. And there's no way that you're ever going to really lose that accent either. Like if you grew up in Haiti, you're going to have that accent no matter how perfect your English is in your mind. People are going to hear the slight things that you say that's like, huh, where are you from? You know? And it's just like, I just wish that as a culture we would embrace that, because I feel like that's where the disconnect started happening, like with my generation and my parents' generation. It was just kind of like, it just, that shame, like, oh, you're not doing this right. Oh, the criticism, that criticism, constant criticism. Yeah. So like for me, when I think about how I want to represent Haiti to my daughter, it's not going to be, oh, you didn't cook this meal right, or oh, you're not speaking the good Creole, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. You have to ignite the passion of being Haitian within your children, within your family, within anybody that you encounter, to keep the culture alive. Because if you're doing it through criticism,
it's not gonna happen. They're gonna move away from it.
Exactly, which is why even a lot of like growing up, there was a lot of kids. Think about it. You're at home, your parents are saying you're not Haitian enough. You go to school, kids are picking on you for being too Haitian.
For
So
being
you kind of, you know,
they
you
called
kind
you
of
Frenchy at school. Yes.
yeah.
I have friends of mine who came here early. So they went
Uh-huh.
to middle school or high school. They said, oh my gosh, American kids used to call us Frenchy. They didn't like us. They used to try to verbally abuse us all the time. So that's why we had to, we all created a very close relationship only with Haitian people.
Yeah.
Because the other culture didn't, although even the Black American, to my surprise, they said they did not embrace us. They said like, you guys think you're better than us. And we never did or say anything like that. But yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the book earlier. I think I introduced you. We do have an illustrator in our group as well. I did introduce you, right? Natalie?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Okay, good. I want to make sure that you guys connected. Yes. So it seems like we have almost everything you need in the group.
I know.
Whether you need a chef, whether you need a
yes.
baker. Yeah, a designer baker, yes. Okay. So you've been in the group for a long time. Oh, gosh, the time just flew by.
Yeah.
You've been in the group for a long time. And I like to also, I want to make sure that we're going to post the link to your website. I know you said it's going to be redesigned or updated, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll post the link below this, and then this video, I started a YouTube channel. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on the Facebook page as well. We have a business page. So the reason I did that, because every time after each meeting, people would ask me, can I share it? But because it's in a private group, Facebook algorithm blocks it. Even if you put it on your page, nobody sees it, and you don't know. Yes. So I studied the YouTube because of that. So now you can share it. I mean, you won't be able to share it today, but you'll be able to share it. I'll do my best to put it. I'm trying to do everything now the next day, 24 hours, right? Because otherwise it piles up and I have work. So it's like, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to post your link here as well. And I wanted to ask your opinion of the book, of the group, because, and how can we expand beyond the group? I just shared with you what I'm doing. I do have an Instagram as well. I don't go there often enough on Instagram, but it's just time, because it's just a question of time. I have to figure out how to make it all happen with the time that I have. I know it's possible. I just have to reorganize my time. And so what do you think about the group, and how can we expand beyond this? I know I welcome everybody to invite more people so the group can grow and grow. So as you know, or if you don't know, the goal of this group is really to elevate and celebrate us with the intention of changing the narrative about us.
I love that. Yeah.
And we can only change the narrative by starting with us. When we change the narrative about us, the world will also follow. That's my belief, and I'm going to stick with that. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is the whole thing. So what do you think about the group? What did you say?
I really enjoy the group because I love seeing the different perspectives. I feel like everyone's been very positive, even when we have differing opinions, because we're not going to agree on everything. That's just life. You're not going to agree.
That's life. You cannot agree on everything.
But it's good to be able to have, what I appreciate about this group, opposed to some of the other groups, Haitian groups that I'm a part of, is that people are disagreeing in respectful manners. Like, it's very important that you're able to express your opinion without getting nasty. And I really appreciate that about the group. As for growing it, I feel like that's something that we're all trying to work on, like growing our platforms and stuff. And I noticed for me, I've been really like going on Instagram and stuff and trying to grow like my Fin Publishing _ sorry, Fin Publishing _ is my handle. That's
the website name.
Yeah, that's the website name, and then that's the publishing company. And then even
do you also have a Facebook group, or you only have the Instagram?
I want to start a Facebook group, but I'm like, you know what? I'm like about to switch into real baby mode because I'm due the first week of October. So I have 1 month left. So it's like, for me, it's like, right now it's like, all right, get these books out. Then after I settle, then I can start the groups and do all that.
Got it.
Because I realize that is a great way to grow and, learn more from others who are in the group. So yes. I just, for me right now, I have been focusing on Instagram and Facebook. I noticed the more social media platforms that you're on and that you're actively like really.
So then you will attract people more here.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, my next question for you is, how about interaction? Like how to get people to engage more? I like to hear what people have to say.
I think when it comes up to engagement, I think any type of like, asking questions that really like causes people to think or that people maybe have polarizing opinions on. Like I noticed in the group, especially like after the earthquake that just happened, there was a lot of like differing opinions as to why it happened, what's going on. And I noticed like in the group, those posts get a lot of like engagement because it's something that's fresh and new and people are passionate about it. Okay. So I feel like staying up to date with basically all the stuff that's happening in Haiti and all the stuff that's going on around us as Haitian people, when you start, sparking those conversations like, hey, how can we help? What do you think we should do? And all that stuff really causes people to really want to share their opinions about it. Okay. And I think that's a good way to, have
that's
some
a good
engagement.
Idea. Thanks. So where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years from now with your writing?
So my goal is to one day be an author of 50 to 100 books. I know it sounds crazy. So like, I like
crazy.
Yeah. I don't think it's
you remember what Steve Jobs said?
True.
Cheers to the crazy ones.
Yes.
Because it is the one who think he can change the world who actually will.
Exactly.
And let everybody say that they are crazy. Yes.
Exactly.
I am not quoting him, by the way. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something to that effect. Yeah.
So like in 5 to 10 years, definitely, I want to also, because my company name is Fin Publishing, but it's a self-publishing company, but with the mindset that in the future, right now I'm publishing my own books because I'm perfecting the process, because that way I can have other Haitian authors or Caribbean authors, people who just won't get a chance with like a big name company or whatever, but I would love to grow my platform enough to where they could have a chance with me, type of thing.
I have something I will share with you beyond this, beyond this conversation. And I'm also going to tell you to research on Louise Hay. She is, do you know her?
No.
Okay. She started her own publishing company from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah. So she is a model, basically, because that's a model of somebody who started from scratch. Her first book was just a couple of pages that she put like this. That was her first book. And then it became a real book, You Can Heal Your Life. And it's nonfiction, of course. And very popular publishing company. She passed away recently, actually. So she was alive during our lifetime. And the publishing company is still going strong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's called Hay House.
Always good to hear.
Yeah, the publishing company is called Hay House. And her name was Louise Hay, Hay. Yeah. So research on that. Okay, so we're gonna ask you 3 questions. And the first 2, I would like for you to give me one word answer. This is the part that I like to have fun because I want to see what everybody says. And one word to describe your life.
Fulfilled.
Fulfilled. Beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful word. Beautiful word. One word to describe Haiti.
Describe Haiti. Beautiful.
Beautiful. It is. It is. And what advice would you give to Haitians, specifically those who live in Haiti and around the world as well?
One word?
No, that one.
Oh, I was like,
I think we need more than one word. Although we could come up with one word.
we could. But I'm like, I'm
but
gonna need
you
a
don't have
minute.
to. What'd you say?
I said, I'm like, I'm gonna need a minute to think about one word for advice.
Okay, take a minute.
I feel like if I could give advice to Haitians all around the globe, it's to truly come together. Like let's not, I feel like we focus so much on what's wrong with Haiti that we can't focus on what's right with Haiti and build off of that. It's just like we're our biggest critic, if that makes sense. Like the world, I'm big on like the world sees you how you see yourself to a certain extent. Like if you're walking around like you're so down on yourself. Like every time I get on certain posts on about Haiti, there's just, and it's coming from us, the constant criticism. Oh, God hates Haiti and all
that
this
is so
stuff.
not true.
And that's so not true. And it's just like, if we really, as a whole, people in Haiti, people in America, people in Canada, everywhere, all around the world, really put in like good heart effort, and I'm not talking about just, there's so much like what I'm doing, me, all this stuff. It's like, no, like if we all put our heads together and truly like do what's best for the country, and not one hand is for the country, but I'm gonna make sure I get mines too. Like there's a lot of that happens, and there's just a lot of criticism and a lot of negativity. And it's like, if we could just get rid of, I know I'm asking for a lot, but if we could just stop being so negative about everything, like there's no perfect solution to anything, but let's focus on the good efforts that are being made. Like, I believe it was a post that you had put up
about the one that says they don't want the Dominican to come and bring help.
Yes, it was like, what?
And those people, and what is sad is they're not thinking about the people in need, because they are wherever they are. They're probably diaspora people. They are living wherever they are. And this is sad. This is sad because I don't think you're asking for a lot when you said, if we could come together and focus on what's positive about Haiti, because I do believe, that's my belief, what you focus on expands. Yes. So when you focus on
you nurture.
You nurture whatever you focus on, you're nurturing it. It's gonna grow. It's like you planting a seed. When you plant a seed, like if there is like you want to plant poison and you want to plant fruits that is going to be healthy for you. You keep nurturing the poison, it grows.
It just
keep nurturing the fruit that's healthy for you, it also grows. So you want to make sure that you plant seeds that are positive, that can grow in a positive way. And that is what we're working on. And that is what I hope this platform can do, really. And like the conversation is really, let's get to know us. Let's get to know who we are. And appreciate who we are with all our flaws, because we are all perfectly imperfect.
Yes.
Totally.
Oh, that's one of the things I love to say. And it's just like, just seeing how everything transpired through the earthquake, all these countries were coming together to help. And it's like everyone wanted to dissect, well, remember like this happened, couple years back, this happened, this happened, this happened. And yes, keep your eyes open. I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just open all the doors to Haiti and then because there's a lot of things that happened that wasn't
fair. You gotta be careful.
Yes. But at the same time, who am I living in America in my AC in my house to say, oh no, Dominicans, Republicans coming over and they're with their boats and their supplies and getting mad when there's children starving. Like, I'm sorry.
Exactly. What are you? And that's what I had told one of them. I said, unless you're going to bring your own boats with supplies, with medical staff, with medicine, then you have nothing to say.
You have nothing to say. There was a lot of opinions. And I think that was another thing too that bothered me. I'm just like, everyone wants to criticize what everybody else is doing for Haiti. And I'm very big on putting your money where your mouth is. You can't criticize Bob down the street for doing something and you haven't done anything. These are your people. And I'm like, to be honest, I'm like, I felt really angry because I know certain people who are just like, oh, I'm not sending money or I'm not sending nothing over there because, people might steal it. But then you're criticizing people who are. So it's like, if you're not going to help and be a part of this,
it makes no sense. Yeah.
Be quiet.
So we have to, it makes no sense. So the goal is, and I don't know what we know what our intention is. And I don't know if this platform is good enough, like to reach everyone. It's big enough. I mean, not good enough. It is good enough because it is what we have. Big enough, I mean to say, to reach everyone and for people to hear the message. Most importantly, or they hear the message. And that's why I'm glad we are on YouTube. And I do hope that I can put them on Instagram as well, especially they have the Reels now, which is, I hear it's very popular. So we can see what people say. And I know it's not everybody is going to hear it, but some people will say, we are beautiful people. We have so much to give. Let's focus on what we can do and not what is not right, what other people have done in the past. So you can keep your eyes open and still do.
And there's good and bad in every, there's good and bad in every country, every society, every gender. You know what I'm saying?
It's life. It's called being human.
It's life. So like to just lump every Dominican or every American, it's like,
oh, you know what I was going to say? There are so many Haitian Dominicans. How do they not know it's not being sent by a Haitian Dominican person?
Exactly.
You don't know that. And even if it were not, whether it's a Dominican person bringing it, it's still thank you. Just say thank you.
Thank you.
And it could be that it's one of your Haitian people that who are living there, have a big position that says we got to step in. Say thank you.
It was just one of those things where it was a very eye-opening and frustrating experience.
So the question we have to say is like, what can we do? It's like to bring the awareness to them when that is happening. I think that's always remember that. Okay, I see that note, and sometimes I post, I respond, but sometimes I know also when to let go. And what can we do to? I like to question them. I don't say a statement. I just said, okay, what are you doing? You don't want them. What are you doing? Or you want to bring your boat? Then okay. But if you're not, then you are in the comfort of your own home. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because it's not about you. It's about what do those people want? They just lost their home, lost their family, lost everything, and then experience trauma. The trauma of that gudu is no joke.
It's not.
It's no joke. So on that note, we can talk forever, right?
Yeah. I feel like we're on the same page with that. Like, it was very frustrating, but it was nice to be able to help certain, like, part of the proceeds of every book that I'm selling goes to this organization called Lumière d'Éducation, and it's on my website or whatever. And
we want to make sure we post it there too. Can you please post their website there so we know that a portion of your book goes to, the proceeds go to that
Yes.
organization. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you
And
for
because,
letting me know that because I didn't
yeah.
know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So part
So
it's just
post it, please.
yes, part of the proceeds does go to this school in Haiti that's in Port-au-Prince, and they provide free tuition for the children, supplies, and all of that. So basically, they live off of the donations that we give, and it's like because a lot of people because people don't know Haiti doesn't have like a public school system how we have it here, and you
Yes.
have to pay every semester for your education.
Yeah.
And poverty is a big deal down there,
Yes.
so
Yes. We
a
know.
lot of children just go without an
Correct.
education. So education, of course, is near and dear to my heart, so it was like a no-brainer that this is the organization that I wanted to partner up with, and
Beautiful.
they're doing amazing things over there. So I would
That's good
definitely.
to know. That's good to know. So let's make sure we let the family know about this organization, and also we're going to post your information there as well. And so before I conclude, what last word that you want to share with our community? It was a pleasure speaking with you, really a true pleasure.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes. And I would love for you to, any last word before we conclude?
No, just thank you for having me. I do have 2 books coming out very soon, within the next month, hopefully before I have this baby. And those books, you can find more information on those books if you go to finpublishing.com, or if you follow me on @finpublishing_ on Instagram, or if on Facebook you follow me on Fin Publishing. Like Fin Publishing, if you just type that in, you'll be able to find what we're working on. Like I haven't fully put out the books yet, but you'll see what they're about once
And
you
you want to
start.
spell Fin for them?
PHIN. So it's the last part of my last name.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Jinica. I really appreciate this conversation. And I
Thank
trust
you.
each and every one of you will benefit from this conversation. We talk about books, we talk about food, we talk about life, we talk about Haiti. As you know, the most important thing is our intention for this conversation, our candid conversation, is to change the narrative about Haiti. And it all starts with us. Always, it all starts with us. And thank you for watching. And as always, peace for Haiti and love for Haiti. I'll see you soon.